I want to show you how changing one note in one chord can radically alter the overall feel and tension of an entire song. Hi, I'm Jonathan Bocher from PlayGuitar.com, and today we're looking at a chord that was possibly the very first chord that you ever learned on guitar. A humble old G major chord, but we're going to add one note to it. And I'm using the fingering like this one here because it keeps my first finger available to add another chord. Normally I would play it this way, but today I'm playing it this way. And a G major chord is made up of three notes, okay? A little bit of basic theory for you. The 1, the 3, and the 5 from the scale. Now if we use the scale, we got 1, 2, 3, okay? There's the B, so that's our second note in the chord. The first is G. 3, 4, 5 is a D. Okay, now let's look at this chord. G, B, D, G, B, G. Okay, so we've got a collection, or an assortment of G, B, and D notes in different places. And the fact that we have multiples of a single note, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change the name of the chord. That just changes the voicing of the chord. You can find different places around the fretboard to play the G, B, and D notes, but any which way you arrange them, it's always going to be a G major chord. So that gives us our G major chord. What if we add the fourth, which is C, to that chord? What do you hear when you hear that chord? To me, I hear tension. I hear something that craves release. Like it's not resolved at all. It needs to find its resolution. And we resolve it by going back down to the normal G. So listen to this progression. It's just three chords. I'm going to play it through without that added fourth and then with it. And you tell me which one has a lot more character to it. Okay? Now with the fourth. Just one note. I can tell you which one I preferred. The second one, when I added the fourth, it had a lot more character to it. It had movement. It had, it felt like it had purpose, and it was, you could get all eloquent and come up with all kinds of different words for it, but I think you get my point, right? It felt like there was a lot more happening there. I know multiple songs that have used exactly that technique, just adding that fourth to that one chord, and they use that as kind of like their melodic theme to drive the whole song, and it becomes a defining feature of this song. That's how powerful it is to add just one note. Now, when you're looking for different ways to improve your rhythm playing, you need to look to the chords for your inspiration. It's one thing when you're playing lead guitar and you can focus in on the scales and on the riffs, and you can just, you have the luxury of being able to pay attention only to the melody. Well, when you're playing rhythm guitar and you want to add some complexity, some depth in there, and even some melody into your rhythm playing, you don't have that luxury because you need to be strumming at the same time or picking or something. You need to keep that rhythm going. You need to have the broader sound that's created by a chord happening because you're probably the only one playing. And so what you need to do is take the scales, which you would normally use for solos, and pull them into your chords. And that's effectively what we've just done here in a very simple way. We took a note, the C note, from the scale, and we pulled it into our chord, and we created something that was very different than the original chord, right? And yet very musical and very interesting. So that's just a small example of what can be done with this approach. If you're curious to take your rhythm playing to the next level in this way, I really encourage you to check out my Toolbox for D Major course. We talk a lot about this kind of stuff, and I focused in on just one key because I didn't want to hit like all the keys at once, right? But to give you a lot of really useful tools that you can use to get really creative with your rhythm playing. So check it out, PlayGuitar.com. Hope you'll join me inside. We'll see you again next time.